If you want to learn how to make your own Foley synth pads, keep watching.
This is a quick Ableton tip.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Quick Ableton Tips. My name is Jordan, and today what we're going to be talking about is how to make your own Foley synth pads out of field recordings, samples that you might already have, to make your productions that much more unique. Now, all we need for this is a Foley sample of some variety, and we want to choose one that has a consistent sound to it. What's most important is that we don't want to choose a sample that already has tones or tonal qualities to it. So I know that I have a few samples of that variety should I search Atmos in my browser. I know that Atmos 18, it's kind of a brushing sound of some variety. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it will work great for this application. So I'm going to drag it into a new audio track. And the first thing I'm going to do is bring in a few EQs. EQ 8 is fine for this. You don't have to use a really high quality EQ. Because we're only going to be using a couple of notches, EQ 8 is just fine for this. So what we're going to do is open up one of the bands, and for the frequency, we're going to set it to 440 hertz. Now there's a reason for this. You may understand or you may recognize that 440 hertz is the natural tuning system for most Western music. And the reason we're doing this is because we're going to take this band that we've instantiated and we're going to turn it up pretty much all the way. We're going to also take the Q and narrow that Q quite a bit. And what this is going to do is it's going to start to tease out a note from our Foley sample that is going to serve as the fundamental for our synth pad. So if we take a listen to this, we can't really hear that note too much yet, but if I duplicate this EQ, now we can start to hear it coming out. I'm not quite getting enough of it just yet, so I'm going to duplicate one more time. And now you can really hear that note popping out. So now that we've got our processing figured out, we've got our Foley sample and our EQs firing on all cylinders, what we're going to do is go over to this track and we're going to bounce it in place. In other words, we're going to commit the processing that we've put on the track to the sample. And now if we listen back again, you can hear that 440 hertz notch that we've tripled has now been baked into the sample. The next step is to create a new MIDI track. Now you can drag a sampler into that new MIDI track, or what's even faster is to drag the sample that we've rendered in place over to the instrument section of our MIDI track, and it will just create a new sampler for us. Now, if I should play my MIDI keyboard, you can hear that I'm essentially playing the sample, and because we have that 440 hertz notch, the tuning of each note is respective to that 440 hertz. In other words, the 440 hertz has essentially tuned my sample so that I can make it playable. Now for a pad of some variety, we're going to want maybe a longer release, something around 2 seconds. And for the attack, we want to maybe jack it up to around, I don't know, 15 milliseconds or so, just so we have a nice smooth onset of the note. And maybe we want to take the volume up just a little bit to account for the synth itself. And now we can play chords. And the thing I love the most about this is that it is completely unique unto you. You can take Foley recordings that you've made yourself. You can take field recordings and do this, and it will always be your unique stamp. In other words, the recordings that you take, no one else will have. And therefore, if you should turn them into synth pads in this way, no one else will be able to replicate them, and they will be yours and yours alone. And I find it's a great way to diversify your productions and just give a personal touch to something, because we all have access to the same tools nowadays, whether it's, synthesizers like Serum or Native Instruments stuff. We all have the same tool set, and therefore the presets that come with those synths are also the same things that everyone else has. Why not go one step further and apply a technique like this and give yourself a pad that no one else will have? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did like the video, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel, as well as clicking the notification bell so you can be notified when more videos like this come out. Thanks for watching. My name is Jordan. We'll see you soon.